There was 5 of us, this fictitious group of friends that I was like, if I was friends with these guys, we'd be the best friends ever.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Discombobulated podcast. We're back with episode 3, and hope you've enjoyed the last 2. If you're just now joining us, jumping in here, maybe go back and listen, or don't. I don't care. I don't know if anybody else cares or not, but we appreciate you listening. We got a full house tonight. Jake, Kyle, Ethan, and myself, Taylor, here to talk about everything, nothing, whatever's in between all of that. It's gonna be good. Everybody's having a great night. We spent the last 20 minutes talking about how much life sucks, but you know,
we covered a lot of categories in the last 30 minutes.
We should have been recording for the last 30 minutes.
Well, we couldn't record Ethan's part because it's got some sensitive information.
Yeah, and we couldn't record you because you weren't here on time.
Ooh.
Ethan, I was late once. You have been late and completely forgot about meetings. Completely.
Listen.
All year long.
It's about building habits, okay? And I've already got my habit built as someone that is experienced at not being on time. Okay. I don't want you to fall into this trap, Kyle, because I know that you care about being on time. I have already established I do not. And that's
time,
the
he
difference.
Does not care. He does not care about time or sending pictures to Taylor.
Yeah. Maybe we should clarify. I just asked for a picture of everyone's face for the thumbnail for the roller coaster.
I missed that.
No other pictures were requested. Jake and myself were the only people to send in pictures. So I put Kyle and Ethan in the back seat.
We got to sit in the front seat, damn it. We got front row.
We had the best roller coaster experience.
It was almost epic with the way that you were like looking sideways, like you were eyeballing me out of the corner of your eye, though.
I do want to say that picture is unrealistic because there's no way Ethan and I would fit next to each other in the same car.
Well, you know, that was kind of the point.
I think we would fit.
I mean, the name of it was like Fat Boys on Roller Coasters or something. Yeah. I mean, that kind of
I think it depends on the coaster.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I do better on the ones that like latch over the top of you. Like the ones where
you
they
ever fear though, like that's going to come undone? Like, I feel like I don't like that.
The most afraid I've ever been on a roller coaster, and I love them. In Chicago, there's a Superman ride, and so you sit in it, right? Like you're like, all right, and it looks like a normal roller coaster, and you sit and you like there's one belt that like latches the latch down, so it like and then it latches like at your groin. And I'm like, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be a great roller coaster. And then right before the roller coaster starts, like the floor drops out under you and it inverts you like you're freaking Superman. And you're like, at no point did I enjoy the ride because all just big boy of me fell onto this like little tiny like latched belt. And like one hit me right in the nuts. So that didn't feel good from the start. And then 2, I'm like, this is how I die. Like if this dropped me, I would not, like if this came unlatched, there's no way I could hold on because of the way it's like, because like if you're sitting in a roller coaster, you can kind of like picture in your mind, like I could freaking press myself so I don't fall out of this. In this, if this broke, you just fall into the abyss and you're staring down the whole actually really fun roller coaster, but very terrifying.
I hate to say it, but on 80% of roller coasters, if anything came undone, you're flying out.
Yeah, you're done.
There's no way you're staying in.
I would at least like a chance.
There's
if this
no
comes
chance.
Undone, you're just falling from the sky.
I think the only difference is if you have something to grab a hold of, you have a better chance of cartwheeling down because like you tried to grab it, it didn't work. And like now you're just spinning out of control where if you fell, you would probably just fall. So, I mean, personally, I'd rather just fall than like try to grab onto something and like have it change your momentum.
I'd prefer not to fall over hundreds of feet, regardless
that's
of
an
how
option.
I'm
I'll
going
choose
to go.
that option as well. I didn't know that was an option. I would have chose it.
I mean, I'm just saying,
I'm so
like, if
confused
you're
on
sitting
the
in a
physics
roller
of what
coaster
you
that
just
doesn't,
presented.
Dude, I saw
Go
a video
upside
the other
down.
day. It was a guy that was bungee jumping, and I don't know the intricacies of bungee jumping, but
naked?
No, he was
interested.
fully clothed. I don't think I would have made it through the video if he was naked. But like, I guess when you bungee jump, and I don't know, don't roast me in the comments because I've never done it. I guess there's like multiple apparatuses that they hook you to for like safety. Well, one of them is like while you're getting ready on the platform, it's like a static line. It's like 10 foot. And if you're just to fall, like you're not going to actually bungee jump. Well, I guess they didn't like unhook that, but it was just long enough for when the guy like fell forward, it like rocketed in him and he started like doing somersaults. And it's because it kind of think about basketball, right? If you go up for a dunk, I know Ethan, you've never gotten that high, but if you were going to dunk it,
I can dunk on 8-foot rims.
Okay, perfect. Let's go here. Okay,
I can't imagine even jumping like up on a sidewalk.
I mean, I could do a sidewalk. I mean, come on.
I can't imagine Ethan jumping to get to the top shelf in the grocery store, much less anywhere else.
Anyway, so when you dunk it, like say you're running down, you got a fast break. Ethan, focus, eye contact here. You got a fast break, right? You're dribbling down the court. You go up for like a tomahawk, but yeah, right in the middle, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna two-hand this. I'm gonna send it home. And you take both hands, and when you go, your fingers kind of slip off the rim, but all your momentum is going one way, and you kind of just like somersault over and land on the back of your head. Something similar to that.
I always go two-handed when I'm about to score.
That's kind of awkward.
All right.
I have no response to that because like that's a visual I don't really care to.
Could you dunk in high
I
school,
don't think
Jake?
you said it the way you wanted to say it, Ethan.
Could you dunk in high school, Jake?
Okay, here's my
or like
issue
college
here.
or whatever
I
age you were.
I only dunked the ball 3 times in my career. All 3 of them were put back dunks. Like I couldn't palm the ball enough to where I could go up there and dunk it myself.
You have big hands, though.
I don't have very big hands.
You don't have the Spider-Man grippers in there, though.
I don't have like I couldn't grip it enough to where if I was like going up with any momentum, like if it's just like warm-ups or whatever, then maybe. But like in a game, I could never do it, so I always had to wait for it to bounce off the rim and go up and get it and put it back in. Did it only 3 times.
Interesting.
Because I've never dunked.
I
could never touch rim, so I'm not.
Or net.
I could still touch the rim now.
I could touch the net. I could touch the box behind the rim in high school, but I couldn't.
Like the little padded thing?
You know, the thing that like the breakaway box behind the rim? I could touch that, but I could
Were
never.
You the kid in school, Ethan? Like as you'd walk, like you'd be single file line, and as you'd walk through a doorway, you have to jump and touch the top of the door frame?
I mean, I don't have to jump to touch the top of an 8-foot door frame, but
maybe when you were, if you're, well, not now, hopefully, but when you were in school, single file line, you know, you're in elementary school, you're walking through, you're going to jump up and touch it.
I feel like a lot of kids did that. Maybe I was that
maybe
kid.
It was just the
mathletes.
I don't know. I
don't know if I did that or not. Maybe, probably. I mean,
Ethan did it once and everyone made fun of him. So
look, my parents had 9-foot ceilings in their living room, and that was like a big deal when I could jump and touch the 9-foot ceilings. That made me really happy.
Did you break?
And then they redid the ceilings, and now they're like 9-8, and I'll never touch those. So
you stand on the coffee table.
Yeah.
Yeah, put some on your fingerprints and just enough to touch it so you can kind of see a little mark up there.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle can kick door frames.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is the weirdest thing ever. Like, I don't even want to know how he knew he could do that. Like, how do you even practice that?
I did it at work. Somebody bet me. I don't know how it came up, but someone bet me at work that I couldn't kick the door frame when I said I can kick the door frame, and they said there was no way. So I got my stretch on for a few minutes, hiked up my slacks, went up there, kicked it.
Did you have your hoodie on at the time?
A few minutes.
No. That's why.
I've got like a full yoga routine before.
We can vouch. He was full on stretching there at the NFL Combine for a little bit.
I did, yeah, every morning.
You stretch before you get up, Kyle?
Hell
no, I stretch before I go to bed and Taylor's bed.
I don't think I saw you ever stretch before bed either.
Interesting.
The lights.
Because I was under the covers.
Oh, do you really, or is you joking? Oh, I was like, that's weird. Like, I've never heard
all that wrestling under the covers. That was just Kyle stretching.
I thought you were just trying to get comfortable. Damn it! I don't know what the hell was going on.
What are you doing? I'm stretching, bro. I'm stretching before bed.
Dude, I'm stretching all over the house in KC.
Oh man!
Yikes!
Yeah, that's gonna be. You're sharing a room with Mack, right?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I thought. That's what we decided.
That's what we agreed on. We were all here.
We didn't agree on anything, but I wouldn't care if I needed to.
Yeah,
For sure agreed on this.
I don't think Mac wants to share a room with me because I will cuddle that man in the middle of the night just to see what his reaction would be to wake up next to me.
You may not want to know what the reaction is.
Yeah.
You may get Amazon primed across the forehead. Who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be a fun trip, though.
It's going to be a great trip.
Kyle, as a joke, gets into bed with Mac, and Mac's like, "Oh man, you knew it's been so long."
Yeah, Mac like plays the joke perfectly.
I hate that Mac's not here to defend himself or to further this.
I mean, at some point he's going to show up. I think at some point he's going to have a camera that'll turn on.
Hey,
I mean, I'd have Kyle try to walk him through it, but that ain't going to work because Kyle can't figure out his own camera.
I ended up figuring it out.
Taylor told you what to do.
No, he didn't.
He said
I did.
unplug it.
I had already unplugged it once before that. I did it again.
Do you believe him, Taylor?
well, he unplugged the HDMI. I meant cycle power, but that's fine.
It's okay.
Oh, okay.
It's all right.
I didn't hear you say cycle power.
I
Tomato,
didn't
tomato.
say that
Tomato,
specifically.
tomato.
Sometimes you just
This
gotta
sounds like
blow in it.
our sounds like our group conversation in our DMs when we're trying to talk about free agent signing and Ethan's saying things about players, and I'm like, I never heard him say that. And he's like, well, I never said he said that. I'm like, what? I don't understand what's going
It's
on.
just a thing.
Or when we like put the breaking
What?
news in there and Ethan puts it in like 30 minutes later and he's like, hey guys, look what happened.
Look what happened.
Listen, at least I showed up for the pod on time.
He does have you there.
Ethan's going to try to use this one thing for as long as possible.
Listen, Kyle, I'm just shocked because normally you don't disappoint anyone ever. And yet here you are disappointing the whole crew. Maybe we had places to be. What makes you think you're important?
dude,
you don't have a doctorate, so it
Dude,
can't
the
be
only
that.
thing you do is touch people and do this stuff. So
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe he could talk about this stuff while he's touching people.
Maybe he does.
Maybe you could charge more for that. It's like bonus, right? No,
Whatever works.
no.
Whatever.
have you ever
works.
done
Gets
that
the bills
before?
paid.
Have you ever worked on somebody and helped them set their lineup and then be like, I'm charging an extra $10 for that?
I don't charge people for fantasy advice in real life, but I have lots of people. You'd be amazed at the number of like little old ladies that find out that I do fantasy football and they're like, oh my gosh, I love fantasy football. And I'm like, you're 75 years old. There's no way.
Is
And
that
there's a lot of like older individuals love fantasy football too. And you just don't know. A lot of them are just like, I'm like, where do you play fantasy football at? And they're like, oh, I'm in like 6 public Yahoo leagues. And I'm like, that is amazing. You deserve better than Yahoo leagues. Like I
Like
would
maybe,
kill
like
to
maybe
have
underdog
people.
leagues.
You should. They
I mean,
should.
You need to push that.
I'm doing my best. Okay. The opportunity hadn't arisen yet.
Oh, okay. Let it arise.
Let it arise.
Let
Ethan.
it arise at a moment's notice. Be ready to drop that. What's the promo code, Ethan?
Headliners.
Attaboy. He's paying attention.
I
is
screwed
the
that up
promo
for
code
like a
everything.
year
Don't
and a
give him
half.
credit for knowing that. It's the code for everything.
Everything.
Listen, I got
Yeah, but you
credit
got it
for being
wrong
on
for like the
time
first
today.
year.
Kyle,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the difference between me and you. Okay. When I do the expected, I get credit for it. But when you do the unexpected, you get no credit and public shame.
No,
At times.
It doesn't make sense.
Could you speak into the microphone, Kyle? I know you're trying to play this off like you're
That's-
cool, you're late, you're trying to be like the doc, but you're not doing it very well. No one can hear you. You would know that if you listened to the show, but you don't. So how can
Yeah,
you
we found
judge
out earlier
yourself?
that Hal doesn't watch the podcast or listen to the podcast. So
I play it back on my computer. I played it today while I was cleaning the garage.
not even in the same room. That's fine.
We don't
Yeah,
do-
it was.
we haven't even. He didn't say he was in the garage. He
Yeah,
just said he
it is.
played
The
it in the
garage
garage.
is literally right there.
Yeah,
That's not the
But
same room.
you could have been in the house doing dishes. Well, it's played
That's
in the
like-
garage.
Me turning it on in my bathroom while I go watch TV or something like that.
No. It's running. It's getting us
No.
views and time and completion.
That's fine. That's
It's all-
fine.
All about them watch hours.
How about them watch hours? So I did want to talk just a little bit of football tonight as we get started, and obviously keep in mind that this won't air until a week from now. But with all the free agent moves that have happened, I feel like there's been so many like crazy ones that I felt were unexpected, and people going different places. What's your favorite one? It can be from fantasy perspective or just from because they
Like
went
just
to
my
your team.
favorite move or like my favorite unexpected move?
Your favorite move in general that's happened.
I will start. I've been a Miles Sanders truther for years. So now Miles Sanders in Carolina, I actually secretly kind of like a lot, because if Donta Foreman and his one Achilles tendon can like have some solid games in Carolina, I think that Miles Sanders could have some big time games, and nobody's going to really care about him because he's playing in Carolina. You know, he was not somebody you could rely on heavily over the years past because of being in Philadelphia. I like Miles Sanders in Carolina, but that's me, and because I'm a truther.
I have two.
You're only allowed one. Damn it! You
Doesn't
can't break the
matter.
rules.
Doesn't matter. I haven't been following the rules since I got here tonight. So let's just keep that going. Collectively, everything the Lions have done is number one. Number two, Orlando Brown.
Wait. Everything? You even Jamal Williams?
You said signing, not re-signing.
He said free agent moves.
I said free agent moves.
And you said everything the Lions have done.
So the signings that they've made, yes, not bringing Jamal Williams back hurts. But now that I've thought on it and let it simmer and marinate in the pot for a little bit up here, the noggin, I understand why they did it. It's going to hurt not having him in the locker room. I get from a talent perspective and age perspective why they did what they did. But also, it sounds like they offered him the same money because I don't know if any of you saw this, but apparently the Detroit Free Press reported that they offered him the same contract that they offered David Montgomery, and his agency turned it down. So Detroit said, we can't wait any longer or people are going to start getting signed. So they went and signed David Montgomery.
Which I don't hate either.
No, I love David Montgomery. Yeah. If they had replaced DeAndre Swift instead of Jamal Williams, I would have felt a little bit more happy about it. Yeah. But I get it from that perspective because I don't think DeAndre Swift is going to be in Detroit next year. I don't think they give him another contract, especially if he doesn't stay healthy again this year. So if you're looking for somebody that can take like a legitimate, like 70% of the workload, David Montgomery makes a lot more sense going into 2024 than what Jamal Williams would. And then my number two move was Orlando Brown to Cincinnati.
I do like that.
Yeah, that's a good move.
Ethan's over there frantically Googling all the free agent moves.
I literally was, because I was going to say Orlando Brown, because anytime.
Of course you were, Ethan. Yep.
Anytime that quarterbacks
100%.
get good tackles or I just feel like teams just kind of forget about offensive linemen. And then it's like, oh, our quarterback gets hurt every year. I wonder why. Well, you haven't done anything to protect him. He just gets slacked. I would say that I'm going to go against the grain because that's my MO. And I'm going to go with the fact that the Ravens have not been able to do literally anything in free agency because they have to wait until the monster they created, Lamar Jackson, either gets a deal or does not get a deal. And it's basically ruined their entire offseason. And as a Steelers fan, Ravens pain is good for me. So I enjoy that the Ravens are in this weird quarterback purgatory. I will say that I do think the NFL owners have a coup against Lamar Jackson. They don't want to give these guys guaranteed contracts, and they're not going to negotiate with the guy that wants a guaranteed contract while he's also pay 2 first-round picks to get him on their team.
Okay, so sidebar here. We're gonna take the fork in the road about Lamar Jackson. And you just said that the owners have it collectively against Lamar Jackson. Is it that they have it against Lamar Jackson, or that Lamar Jackson just happens to be wrong place, wrong time, and we would be going through the same damn thing right now if it was Joe Burrow or somebody else?
I think that it's the idea of guaranteed contracts. I don't think that they care so much that it is Lamar Jackson. He's the first one that's ever really dug his heels in on that. And so whoever that person would have been, if it had been Joe Burrow, if it had been even Patrick Mahomes, if it's whoever's digging their heels in on it, this is the first time that the player hasn't gone, okay, well, I'm not going to like turn down hundreds of millions of dollars guaranteed just so that it's like all 100% guaranteed. But Lamar Jackson's working without an agent. So there's no one really advising him like, hey man, they're not going to do this for you. And he's in such a strange situation where like the Ravens can't do anything in free agency because they don't even know how much they're going to have to pay for him. Nobody wants to offer him a deal because they can match it. And so why would you even?
Well, he's tagged, so they do know
yes.
how much he would cost if nobody offers him a deal.
If nobody, but he's not going to play on that. There's no chance that he plays on 32 million a year. There's no chance that he's going to play on that tag.
I think he has to. Now,
I think that's what it's going to end up being. I don't know.
I think there's a
believe he'll
difference
play
though
on it.
between him starting the season, like, and saying, okay, yep, I'm signing my tag, I'm going to play. And that being, okay, I'm playing. And then, we go down in week 4. And now he takes multiple weeks saying, I'm just not healthy yet. And he just does not push himself to get back. That is what I could see happening in season. So he doesn't re-injure himself at any point in time. But if he wants guaranteed money and he doesn't play on the tag this year, he's going to find himself in a Le'Veon Bell situation.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially because they're not caving in this fast. I mean, how many teams legitimately have a shot or a need of going after him? They're dwindling by the month, right? Because the NFL draft's right around the corner. People aren't going to spend top 4 picks on something and then go get Lamar Jackson. So we're about to have even less teams really be quarterback needy. And I get it. Like, I mean, I see all the things and everybody's against Lamar Jackson, and it turns into a lot of things that maybe I don't necessarily think that it really is the issue, but people make it the issue. I think, like you said, it's more so that the Deshaun Watson contract broke the NFL. Once again, the Cleveland Browns screwed something up, right? Like they just can't get out of their own way. And now that they've done that with Deshaun Watson, I totally agree with the likes of Lamar Jackson. Well, I feel like I'm better than Deshaun Watson. Why do I not get at least what he got? It's fair market value.
He's got an MVP.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing the same thing we do that in normal everyday life. You know what I mean? Are you going to go overpay for a vehicle when you know that the comps on that vehicle are way less? Whatever it may be, you can apply it to anything. He's just trying to get, from what I understand, where he feels like he belongs in the pecking order. And because they gave Deshaun Watson so much guaranteed money, if they do it with Lamar Jackson now, get ready, because you're going to have to do it with Joe Burrow. You're going to have to do it with Justin Herbert. All these guys coming up, they're going to have the exact same thing.
Hurts.
Yep. And it's going to, it would ruin. Okay. I can't say that would ruin the NFL. It would definitely ruin a lot of teams' chances at being productive and good for any extended period of time. Because once you pay a quarterback like that, it's going to be hard pressed. I mean, look what Mahomes is going through. It's Patrick Mahomes, and he's great, but he's having to do it with the likes of weapons that are not as elite as other teams. He's just good enough to still make it happen. Is everybody Patrick Mahomes? Probably not.
Well, I think this is like a double-edged sword conversation here, because I feel like no matter what somebody says, you're going to have somebody argue on the other side.
That's the way the world is now.
Yeah,
People
but
don't agree.
In this conversation, like, if we even make a comment about Lamar Jackson and saying, he's got to understand that he's probably not going to get guaranteed money, someone's going to be like, well, why does he need to understand that? If he feels he's worth guaranteed money, he feels he should get guaranteed money, or at least try for it. I'm like, NFL players, go get paid. Like, your career is way too short. Get the money, get paid. And I do believe that if this was somebody else other than Lamar Jackson, and they felt they were worth guaranteed money and they were waiting on it, the owners would be doing the same exact thing to them. Now, I think the one big thing here that is keeping this from happening are the draft picks, the compensation. If a team could get Lamar Jackson, even for just a 1, I think he would have already had a deal in place with somebody else. But giving up 2 first-round picks and then paying the guaranteed money, it's like, damn, like you can't even, especially if the deal doesn't work out. And especially after like the Matthew Stafford and Russell Wilson deals the last couple of years, where all of a sudden these things don't work out. And now the teams that got the pick are picking inside the top 6. I think that's scaring teams off. I think the problem here is that the way the NFL is set up, they keep trying to do these things to help the teams that ultimately hurt the players. I mean, these franchise tags are absolutely ridiculous. They hurt the players. They hurt the negotiating process, and they kill the longevity of the players. And it does not allow them to get paid. Because if you look at it, if you're a first round pick, you're on a contract for 4 years, a 5th year at that point, and then you can franchise tag for another 2 years after that. So ultimately, whatever team you go to, you've got 7 years that you might be tied to them, and maybe you're not happy with it. Maybe you land in a situation where you're not being utilized correctly, where you have a crap head coach, a bad front office, and there will be absolutely nothing that you can do to get to a point where you can get out of there, because free agency will not come close enough. That's where the NFL continues to mess these things up, because they continue to put policies in place that empower the teams to have control over players, and it hurts the negotiating process. But then when a player like Lamar Jackson says, I feel like I'm worth guaranteed money because Deshaun Watson got guaranteed money and I've got an MVP and better numbers than Deshaun Watson, and oh, by the way, I don't have this huge sex thing over my head because I was getting diddled while I was getting my stuff done, okay? Getting my massages. He doesn't have that over his head either. And nobody wants to pay him guaranteed money because it's like, oh, we're not going to, because that's going to mess everything up. So that's the ultimately high ceiling conversation here. It's the NFL continuing to implement policies that empower teams to control players past their prime. Because if you go 7 years with a player, especially a running back, they're screwed. Their career is done.
And what really sucks too is, like, look at the deal that Daniel Jones just got. This is someone that we have made fun of, not like of him personally, but of the play for multiple years. And then he puts together a stretch of good games in his last year, and dude just got $92 million guaranteed. So, I mean, if he got that much guaranteed for Daniel Jones, I agree with Lamar, man. I need to be guaranteed $125, $150, whatever it is, because it's Daniel Jones. And like, these contracts are just getting so stupid and out of hand that it's just going to start handcuffing people here going forward, because the numbers are getting astronomical.
And normally the Ravens, I feel like, have done a very, like, organizational standpoint, I feel like the Ravens have been one of the, like, pillars of the NFL for years now in terms of turning over talent and retaining talent and being competitive on the field. And they screwed this up.
Oh yeah.
They screwed that. They should have paid Lamar Jackson after he won his MVP.
Yep.
They should have been like, you know what? Let's just pay him. And that's why guys like Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert are going to get paid this year, because it's like, you know what? Let's get the deal done now so it's over with. And we're not in the same situation where now we don't know what in the world's going to happen. But on the flip side of that too, the Green Bay Packers did pay their quarterback, and look at the situation they're in now.
Ethan's looked puzzled here for like 20 minutes.
Well, I want to go back to what Kyle said about just like all the rules being for the league.
Teams.
I
the
agree.
Rules being for the teams.
For the teams, yeah. Well, the league and the teams are the same, but I got what you're saying. So there's no business where the owners are not going to benefit. No business is going to make rules that benefit someone besides the owners. And so the owners have no incentive to give guaranteed contracts, because they would assume all the risk of a contract in a sport where stuff like what happened to Alex Smith happens.
Mhm.
You know, like your leg can get ripped off and you can get an infection, and then you could maybe potentially play again, but you're never going to be the same. You know, Lamar Jackson knows that there's a risk that the way he plays, and let's be honest, guy has not been 100% healthy in a while in terms of putting a full season together 100% healthy. And we can blame that they don't give him enough weapons. They don't give him this. They don't give him that. No team is going to, unless you're guaranteeing, even Patrick Mahomes has outs in his contract. No, the league doesn't want guaranteed contracts because it actually puts the league at risk. Because if you sign a Lamar Jackson for $200 million over the next 4 years, and it's all guaranteed and you can't get out from the cap, and he tears his knee up and never plays again the next year, and we can act like modern medicine fixes this, but it doesn't. We see players all the time, careers end every single year in the NFL, good players, bad players, there's no way to know. The teams can't assume the level of contract. Look at the guarantees that like a Kirk Cousins got. Okay, played on the tag for 2 years, got paid a boatload of money for those 2 years, then turned around, got a fully guaranteed deal, but for like 2 or 3 years. That's the players need. What Lamar is asking for is, I want to be fully guaranteed for a long-term contract. And the league does not want those types of deals because that will hurt the league eventually. Someone is going to get hurt. Yes, absolutely.
But why can't we find a workaround for now? I am not advocating for fully guaranteed contracts at the NFL level.
I think that there's no reason for them to, because the status quo said we just don't do that, and we're not going to make exceptions for you. You know, we realize, hey, that was dumb. The thing the Browns did was dumb. We can't let that be the precedent because it will put us at risk down the road where every quarterback is guaranteed. Well, what happens with the stud wide receivers? It's a passing league. They're going to want guaranteed contracts, and the stud left tackles are going to want guaranteed contracts, and the TJ Watts of the world are going to want guaranteed contracts, and then everybody's guaranteed all this money.
But the thing is that there's no current policy or rule against guaranteed contracts. If a team wanted to assume the risk, they are more than welcome to. They can do it. And I think we can all agree that the NFL and NFL teams make more than enough money that if they wanted to guarantee Lamar Jackson $200 million and he were to go down from a franchise standpoint, the franchise isn't going under. Nobody's going to go into bankruptcy. None of that's going to happen. They're going to make more than enough money. But the NFL, if you're, and I think that what you're saying is accurate, Ethan, that the way it stands right now, it could hurt teams. And I understand that. But why can't we figure out a way around that? Why can't we say, if a guy tears his knee up and goes on season-ending IR, he doesn't count towards the cap? Or if he misses an X amount of games, his salary doesn't count towards the cap. So now it opens up all this space where it's like, okay, we can maneuver and we can do some things, or maybe you only count 50% towards the cap or something like that. So then the NFL can come up with any rule that it freaking wants to. If it decided that they wanted to do something like that, they absolutely could. But it goes back again to the fact that they don't want to. They don't want to do these things. They don't want to put any power in the player's hands. They don't want to put any player in a situation where they get to control the outcome of contracts more than they already do. We could find workarounds around this. They don't want to, though. And that's part of my issue with really any league, right? I mean, like you said, any league is like this. Nobody's going to create rules that benefit anyone other than the owners. But these owners are bajillionaires that have tons of freaking money. that wouldn't lose money. Like in Major League
They
Baseball, they
would.
talk about it with Steve Cohen in the New York Mets. Like the dude has pissed off the entire Major League Baseball every team because he decided to go out this winter and just spend like crazy. And he's like, so what? It's my money. If I want to spend it, who cares? I'll take the hit of it. If we don't make it up this year, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll pay it out of my pocket. But a lot of owners aren't like this. Jake, was it you the other day that made a comment and you were like, you know what? Most owners are not football guys.
Yeah, they're business guys. They don't know the game.
Yeah, they don't maybe not know the game. And a lot of guys might just buy a team because they want to buy a team because they're a fan of the game or whatever. So it's one of those things where I get what you're saying, but I also know that the NFL, if they wanted to find a way to make this happen, they could, but they're not going to.
Yeah, I think if you're going to guarantee contracts, you're just going to see tons and tons of player movement, which we're already starting to see with contracts.
Is that a bad thing though? I mean,
I think it's a good thing, but I think that I would argue that like the NBA has a problem now with that, where guys go, oh, I don't like this situation I'm in. I want to be traded and I'm only going to accept trades to these 3 teams. And what you end up with is there's just every year, there's only like 5 teams that are decent. There's no St. Louis Rams coming out of nowhere and getting to the Super Bowl and winning a Super Bowl. There's no Bengals putting it together because they drafted well for 3 straight years. And now all of a sudden they have enough good players that are under contract for a while that they can build around those players knowing that they're not really going to be able to go anywhere for a while. I think you're going to see teams and players. I mean, look at how hard it is right now for Aaron Rodgers to be like, yo, I don't want to play here anymore. I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing for the league and for our entertainment either, because Lamar Jackson could have been in year 2, could have been like, hey, you guys aren't giving me any wide receivers. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. And if you're a Ravens fan, you're going to go, okay, well, I don't want to cheer for this guy anymore. You know, like he's not one of us. And so there's a limit, I think, that is reasonable for player movement, player empowerment. But I think the NFL really does want to try to keep these guys under contract for at least long enough to give teams a run at winning a title. Because basketball, I'm sorry, I love the NBA, but there's only like 5 teams that have consistently won titles. There's a reason that there's multiple. There's probably, you could name the teams on one hand that are winning multiple championships in the history of the entire league. That's why basketball struggles, because if you're a Hornets fan, guess what? Not much hope in sight. You basically have to hope that you land a guy and that he doesn't want to leave immediately. Look at the Pelicans. They got what should have been an amazing first round pick. The guy wanted out in a year and only played like 20 games. And so I don't want that for the NFL. I like that Joe Burrow is a Bengal, because now the Bengals are relevant. And even if Joe Burrow's like, man, I really don't want to play in Cincinnati, he's stuck there for a while, so he has to make it work. And there's a chance that the team goes, hey, he's really, really good. Let's build around him. Let's spend money around him. In basketball, they don't get to do that at all. Baseball, a little bit different because the contracts are way different with how they come into the league. But I get your point. We want the players to have power because we're talking about billionaires versus millionaires. And I think we're closer to millionaires than they are to billionaires. And so everyone that has worked a job relates to the not boss. But from just an entertainment perspective, I'd much rather see guys be locked in for maybe less years, but 3-4 years at a time to start their career, give these teams a chance to build around super crazy good talent. Because what we're seeing is kids are leaving. Look at college basketball. Kids come up, they don't play. Guess what? Change schools. They don't play in high school. Guess what? Change schools. Change AAU programs. You don't think Pat Mahomes sitting a year? That couldn't happen if he could just be like, yo, get me out of here. And then what do the Chiefs become? You know, it's how much do you give them versus how much do you keep to just keep the integrity of like team building possible?
Well,
That's
the reason
that's where I
advocate
get concerned with it,
the
because
reason I advocate
people
for
will leave.
players isn't because, being closer to a millionaire than a billionaire. It's because they're the ones that are risking their body every single Sunday for our entertainment. I mean, they're the ones going out there and suffering concussions, broken bones. They're the ones putting their body on the line to play a game that they love, so we can watch them and we get to do the job that we do here. Ultimately, without them, we don't have this. The owners can go kick rocks at that point. They're not bringing anything to the table other than supplying the money for the team and doing all that. Other than that, nobody's really interested unless it's Mark Davis. I mean, he was really
That's just
the only.
his hair is whack.
Because he has no money.
But kind of going back to the basket, it's really hard for me to jump on board with the basketball analogy there, because in basketball, you have 6 or 7 guys that really impact a game. So it's really easy to team up and get 4 of those guys being high-end superstars. And all of a sudden it's like, we're better than everyone else. Whereas with football, you've got 22 guys and all contribute in different ways and fashions and how the game is played, and whether it be on the offensive line or in football, we see some teams have a really good offense, but when your defense sucks, you're not winning a championship, because it's going to be really hard to outscore everybody and not stop anybody. Where at the NBA level, you can get away with that a little bit more, where defensive teams are still going to be better, but if you can shoot the ball and you can rebound and give yourself more opportunities. So basketball and football are super difficult to relate to. And that's why with football, it's like, what could y'all figure out to let these guys? I mean, the one thing that Major League Baseball does really, really well, the only time people pay attention is the trading deadline, because you've got superstars changing teams. You've got high-end entertainment trades happening. The off season is really good with free agency and things like that. They do that. That's the only thing they do well right now outside of the World Baseball Classic. And like, if you were to bring that into football, like, how crazy would our offseason be right now if like 4 of the top quarterbacks were free agents and teams were getting a chance to talk to them? It'd be insane. Like, the NFL would dominate the calendar year. Like, free agency, I mean, honestly, it lasts for a couple of days. And I mean, this year probably felt like more high-end players than not. And there wasn't really a ton. There was like 6, 7 guys, 10 tops that we were tracking. So it's like, if you could find a way to like do that, I think you just would dominate the calendar year round.
What about Taylor? Taylor hasn't talked in 37 minutes.
I was just listening to all the goodness. No, I was gonna go out of left field and say that my favorite move hasn't happened yet, because it's gonna be when Jerry Jeudy goes to the Patriots, and then every Alabama quarterback will also have an Alabama receiver to throw to.
I mean, I do like that.
I would love it.
Just need Bryce to go to the Texans and have Mechie, and everybody's got a buddy.
Everybody's got the buddy system all around.
Everybody's
come to Alabama, go to the NFL with a buddy.
Yeah,
give Mac Jones as many weapons as possible. I'm fine with it.
I know, right? It's gonna be great. I did want to ask Kyle a very specific question. Kyle, do you have a celebrity crush?
A celebrity crush?
Yeah, like, a celebrity, maybe somebody that's in a movie. It could be Taylor Swift. I don't know who it is, but do you have someone?
If there's like, are you asking like,
does everybody else know what I'm asking?
Yeah, I got where you're going with
I'm
this.
trying to verify if this is like, hey, is there someone you would like want to hang out with, or like, I want to be with that person, like romantically.
I'm saying
I'll just describe that the same way he describes like a White Castle cheeseburger. He's just like, yeah.
Whatever you call what you do with a White Castle cheeseburger.
Listen, I absolutely love Ryan Reynolds. Like, if Ryan Reynolds were to be like, I'm giving up Blake Lively, Kyle, I want you to come be my someone for the rest of our lives. I'll drop what I'm doing. Kids, I love you all. I will send you monthly checks from Deadpool 3. But I just
Okay.
You could have given me,
First of all,
you could have given me 1,000 guesses. I
Would have
would
never
not
guessed.
have ever thought
I
Ryan
need
Reynolds.
to know.
I've never seen Jake hide his face over a comment I've made. And that's what he's doing right now.
I've never been so embarrassed for another human in my life.
Why
It's
is
gonna
that?
get worse. My follow-up question now just makes this 10 times worse. I'm scared to ask now.
Go ahead. It's too late now. He's opened the worms.
My question was going to be, if given the option between your celebrity crush, which I unrightfully assumed to be different, or Sean McVay in khakis, who are you choosing? And now it's
Listen, Sean McVay can wear the hell out of those khakis. All right. He does an excellent job. I think I am more than entitled to give kudos to a man that dresses well, especially on the sideline and in the heat of the moment. The dude always looks good. There's nothing. Those khakis aren't doing nothing for me if Ryan Reynolds is in the room, though. Trust me.
all right.
All those in favor of voting Kyle out of Kansas City, raise your hand.
Why am I getting? It wasn't like I was like, I want to hook up with Jake. I didn't say anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh
I mean,
my
that was just not what I
God.
was expecting. It could have literally, like Ethan said, been 1,000 guesses. That one would have never come to
Never.
mind.
So what? You were limiting my selection to females?
Yes, because
Limiting,
when I hear
no.
celebrity crush,
Expecting, yes.
Listen, at one point in time, it used to be Dane Cook. Like I felt like Dane Cook and I were
It's not getting any
soulmates.
better here, fellas.
this is getting way worse.
It's getting worse.
At least Ryan Reynolds is funny.
I used to have. This is funny. So I used to have.
Oh, this is sad.
I feel bad.
I used to have this like thought in my head that if I had like an inner circle of friends, like my best bros, I knew exactly who they would be. One was Ryan Reynolds. Okay. One was Dane Cook, which would have gotten awkward because I just admitted my love for them. Number 3, I don't know if anyone has anyone ever watched the show iCarly?
No.
Nope.
I know what you're talking about, though.
I have a younger daughter, so I can admit that I've watched it before. Her brother, Spencer, in it, I think him and I could have been best friends as well. And there was another one too, and I'm trying to remember who it was, and I can't. But there was like 5 of us.
Out. Like I don't. I mean,
There was 5 of us. This fictitious group of friends that I was like, if I was friends with these guys, we'd be the best friends ever.
Yeah.
Do what?
Would you guys hang out in the hot tub a lot?
I mean, maybe. It depends on whose house we're hanging at that night.
So not only did you pick a dude for your celebrity crush, but you also sit there and watch TV shows and pretend who could be your best friends in real life. Like this just got to a whole nother level. I don't know whether to be mortified or sad for you. Like I don't know.
I'm just saying, I felt like those guys, like we could have all gotten along. We could have been like, we could have had super fun adventures together. All right. We would have been showing up to red carpets, looking slick in our tuxedos. And maybe that would have led me to love in the celebrity world. I don't know. Who knows? I have no idea where life
sounds
would have
like you already
me.
found it.
Yeah.
No, see, if we were just a group of friends, like inner circle, I wouldn't have wanted to mess up the friendships there. I would have stayed away.
Man, I have no idea. If there's anyone still watching or listening,
they're all Jake. I can guarantee you nobody shut this off.
Yeah, if you made it through the football bit, here we are.
Why did you want to ask me about my celebrity crush?
Because you thought you'd have an answer that made sense in the scope of the 4 men that are in the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you hit Ryan Reynolds, and we're like, "Oh no!
Oh
what
no!"
do we do?
And then you doubled down and went Dane Cook, and we're just like, "Oh, this is just
and
not."
Then you talked.
Then
about
you made
how
friends with
had
iCarly's
friends.
cast. I don't know what the heck went on there for like the last 3 minutes.
That's going to be the
child
thumbnail
show.
for sure. Kyle's pretend friends.
Yeah,
it's just going to have Kyle in a hot tub with all these men.
That would be an awesome thumbnail, by the way.
It's like part of me wants to know like the realistic answer to that question, and then part of me is like, I think we just don't even want to know.
I think that was the realistic
Yeah, I think
answer,
that was
Jake.
as
He
real as it
understood the
gets.
question. We asked him twice if he understood the question.
You know
And
what?
he-
You're damn
he
right. You're
went
damn right.
with-
We did ask him
He
twice.
was like, nope, I get what you're saying. Let me tell you about Ryan Reynolds.
We gave him a chance to totally
Listen,
redeem himself,
here's
and
the-
he chose not to.
Here's the thing about this. All right. It didn't matter if I said a male or a female. I'm not ending up with either of them. So it's supposed to be a fun question. Have some fun with it.
Oh, we had.
Oh, we're having fun.
Oh, we're having a great time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're gonna have fun with this for a long time. I can't wait to see all the comments. on
How
Discord.
how
Yeah.
awkward it'd be if someone clipped that and put it on Twitter and Ryan Reynolds.
Dude, he's like a billionaire now. He doesn't care. He just
Yeah.
sold his Mint Mobile stuff to Verizon or AT&T or some
He
crap.
owns a soccer team now.
Yeah, he's like
See?
a billionaire now.
He's funny. He's business savvy. He's a great father.
He's a dude.
Stop talking.
Yeah, you're not fixing
He's
it.
a great.
I am
father.
not embarrassed by my answer at all. I don't care. It's a fictitious question. I can answer it any way I want to.
Hey, be free, Kyle.
Ethan,
Be
did you
free.
have an answer if it would have been asked to you?
There's nothing I could say that would describe just. There's no redeeming this, Jake.
No,
This
I'm talking about you.
conversation
If-
is
if
totally
you-
off the rails.
Would you have gone anywhere near where?
Absolutely
answer would have gone?
not. No, Jake. There's nothing wrong with liking men or wanting to. He was very descriptive about it. Like Kyle's thought about Ryan Reynolds sweeping him off his feet and taking him away from his current life. And I'm sorry, that is weird. That's weird.
Yeah, this wasn't
And
the first time that Kyle had thought about that.
Yeah,
Kyle's like, not only is Ryan Reynolds gonna be my soulmate, but we're
Yeah.
gonna have so many rad parties together with all my other people I wish I knew from Hollywood. And the more he talked, the more I just learned about Kyle. And I will never feel bad for making fun of him again.
Listen, there is literally nothing anyone that could say to me that would embarrass. Like, I don't care. I don't care what anyone thinks about my answer to the question.
We don't have to, because we don't
it
have to make
was-
fun of you when you make fun of yourself.
From a standpoint of answering questions, it was very well thought out.
Thank you.
You gave a very genuine answer, and you were confident. So,
if you
They
would
will-
have
see?
had to put your money on one name, Taylor, who would it have been?
I don't know. And now I can't even think of
A woman.
every time I have thoughts now, I just see Kyle and Ryan running off together into the sunset.
Wow.
I can't with this. My first celebrity crush, Jake, was Amy Jo Johnson, the original Pink Power Ranger.
Mm.
Okay, I
she
had
was
no idea what the name was, but I know who you're talking about now.
the OG Mighty Morphin
Right,
Power Ranger,
right.
Pink Ranger. She was my number one. That was the first time that like I was watching a show and I was like,
This feels
Oh.
weird.
something's up with this. I feel differently about this woman than I do about other women.
Mhm.
And so that was probably number one. I don't know if I have a celebrity crush. Maybe Jennifer Lawrence. I love her. I think she's funny.
She is funny.
She's like the Ryan Reynolds of females.
Kind of,
And
yeah.
so,
Yeah, I can see that.
but I don't think there's a single. I would not leave my current situation to be swept up by
And
Jennifer.
I don't think that was
Lawrence.
the question. It's just like a
Yeah, I feel like
hypothetical.
Kyle took
Right.
that in a weird way. Like we started with celebrity crush, and Kyle's like, "Let me tell you about my dreams at night."
Let me tell you about the pictures that I've taken out of magazines of Ryan Reynolds.
No pictures. No pictures.
Dane Cook. For
I
some
don't
reason.
call
The
him
funny
Ryan Reynolds,
thing
though.
is-
I just
is-
call him R squared.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. The funny thing is number one, I've told people the friendship circle thing before. No one has ever made fun of me about it. In fact, people have
Because you
been
don't
like,
have
you know
real
what?
friends that you told him to.
That
We're
makes
real
sense.
friends.
I told my friendship circle about this, and they did
I don't
not
have
make
any
fun of me
friends,
at
so I haven't
all.
told them. I've told complete strangers. So number one, they were like, yeah, that makes sense. You hanging out with those people, I feel like that absolutely would happen.
I think there's definitely now. I feel like it's two different questions though, because I think you're taking like, who do you think you could be friends with that is a celebrity, and you like took that, which I think Ryan Reynolds would be a great answer for that particular question.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't what was asked, but it could have been a good answer if
You answered a question that wasn't asked.
Yeah, I think what we're looking at here is just your classic order of operations. If we had asked, who do you think you could be friends with, and you had listed off these 5 dudes that you're in a hot tub with in your mind all the time, I'm not asking as many questions or even
judging
laughing.
you.
Like, hey, all those guys are funny guys. It's going to be just Hot Tub Time Machine Part 3.
Yeah.
But since we started with Celebrity Crush and you went there first, then I could not hear with a clean lens the second follow-up details
Here with
and
a
all the
lens.
thought that I don't know what else.
You guys did listen. I talked.
I'm flabbergasted.
Me talking about Sean McVay and his khakis was way worse than anything I just said about Ryan.
I disagree.
Yes, I'm on a 1,000%.
Let us know in the YouTube comments if you think that was worse.
I can prove to you that it was not, because that was my follow-up question, and we have not been talking about it for the past 10 minutes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Jake, did you ever have a celebrity crush? Male or female? We don't judge.
The second that he said that and it came to my head, it was Margot Robbie. Like, that was the first name that popped in my head. Like, that was just like, you know what I mean? But then as the second that I heard Ryan Reynolds, I lost all train of thought. Everything else left my body. My mind was blank. I was almost mortified. I didn't know if we needed to end the show or continue recording. I hid my face because I was like, I don't know if I should laugh right now or if he's being serious. And then when I realized you were serious, I was like, man, I guess I got to face this head on because it's now on the interwebs.
Kyle,
you went to the whole friend circle thing, circle of trust. I don't know what happened with that.
Circle of trust. That'd be a good one.
I don't know.
Kyle, do you know how difficult it is to make a grown man thinking about Margot Robbie just lose that thought?
Like
Jake was like,
I am proud of what I have done here tonight.
It was just wiped clean. Like I had,
and then his brain was just like, all right, you put her on the back burner. We got to pay attention to what Kyle's saying here to make sure it's real.
Yeah. And that happened. Like it's happened now.
I gave you a real answer.
I hope they made it through the football
to
stuff.
See what is so funny here or shocking.
I just the way that Taylor presented the question, I feel like that's a question that people tend to have an answer to that's like pretty standard.
Yeah, it's just like there.
Yeah, like
but I'm not
like
standard.
Me.
Yeah.
When do I ever do anything that is standard?
That's fair. That is the most fair thing you've said
so far.
Well, Thank you.
One thing we kind of glazed over is how Ethan, in a matter of seconds, recalled the name of the pink Power Ranger from 20 years ago.
Bro,
I don't think that's odd.
That's not weird. Do you know how much Power Rangers I've watched?
No.
In my life?
I haven't been there.
A lot of Power Rangers, dude.
But I mean, you remembered her name.
Oh, that means it's real.
I remember most of the Power Rangers names, but definitely the pretty one.
No, you don't. I'm going to quiz you. Is this the original Power Rangers?
Who is the Red Ranger?
Original 6?
Gotta be the original.
I bet I could get at least 3 of them.
Give me a Red Ranger.
For
which one?
Red.
It's Jason Lee Thomas, I think. Yeah. I think that's his name.
I met him in Myrtle Beach.
I don't see
Jason Lee Thomas?
Yeah.
Is that his name? Was I right? Okay, cool.
I don't know if that's his last name or not, but
I think it's Thomas, but I don't know that for a fact.
Is his name
Jason Lee Thomas?
There's no
Tommy is the Green Ranger. That's Tommy Oliver, but he was played by Jason David Frank, I think.
Yeah.
Or David Frank or Jason.
It doesn't say
Frank.
What color Power Rangers they were, so I don't know.
Green. Well, he played a lot of different Power Rangers, bro. Like white.
He was like
green,
45 and still
black in Dino Rangers, red and Zeo. Dude, pretty much every color he's played.
Let's just go out here and say this though, because even though the conversation has happened over the last 10 minutes, I still do consider you guys friends for now. I'm gonna do y'all a solid. And
What about
you can go ahead.
employees? That's the way more important question here.
You can go ahead and wipe Amy Jo Johnson out of your memory bank. I'm doing that as a favor for you. Because if you Google what she was and what she is,
Oh no. Is this going to ruin my childhood?
it probably is, Ethan.
Well, she was born in 1970.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like,
I think she's still like decently looking. Like, I don't know. She's certainly not as pretty as she was in the 90s.
well, okay. Well, did you Google the name? If you Google the Mighty Morphin Power Range, actually, just original Power Rangers cast, the picture that come up is a little bit less than flattering. Not her best.
No, I'm with you, Ethan.
Listen, for better or worse.
Well, that's not my choice.
I'm just saying, like, Ethan's giving this crap answer where it's like, oh yeah, she used to be attractive. I'm into her. Oh wait, no, now that's the way she looks. This ruined my childhood.
He didn't say that.
I said it was my first celebrity crush, like the first time I realized that I had a crush.
So is it a
on
different one?
celebrity.
Is your last one different?
I said it was Jennifer Lawrence.
Okay.
I said that. I feel like I'm.
But dude, I'm telling you, I had to tune out most of the last 20 minutes.
I understand. I'm still on the Ryan Reynolds thing.
Mine was always Tiffany Thiessen.
Oh,
Tiffany who?
Tiffany Amber Thiessen from Saved by the Bell. You didn't watch Saved by the Bell?
No, that was before my time.
Bro.
Horse shit.
Deason?
Thiesen.
You didn't watch Saved? Did you watch it, Kyle?
I don't remember watching it when it was like running,
Right.
but I've seen reruns of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? You ever see that, Ethan?
I mean, I've seen it, but not like a ton of it.
Dude.
Yeah, she was cute. I'm with you there, Taylor. She was cute back in the day. She's still pretty now.
I can't believe you missed out on that in your childhood.
Dude, I'm sorry. When was Saved by the Bell even out?
90s?
Listen, which would you have guys been more upset about, Ryan Reynolds, or if I would have went with my love for older women and said like Betty White?
I would have at least been like, oh, that's cute, Betty White. Like, I still think I would have been less offended.
Why are you offended, Ethan?
I'm not offended, but I'm like,
that's what you just said, though.
Okay,
you just
well,
said I
didn't
would have
mean it
been
that
less
way.
offended.
Listen, I didn't mean it that way. I would have been less surprised.
I've got a grandma that's 96 years old, Kyle.
I do too.
Listen, I don't want I want old enough for the ginger loving, but I don't want so old that I wake up next to a dead body. Okay.
Wow.
Saved.
I don't
Stop
think Betty White's
talking.
going to be the thing.
Saved by the Bell ended. The season 4 ended in 93. I was born in 94, so I know of it, but I didn't ever it wasn't really played on TV.
You missed out.
Because it was on NBC too. Like all the seasons were on NBC. I wasn't watching NBC as a kid. I probably didn't start watching cartoons until like the late 90s. So
I remember coming home every day from school and watching that because it'd be on at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I would love is a channel with like just Nicktoons from the 90s. Give me some Cat Dog, some Real Monsters, some Rocket Power.
Rocket Power was
Ren and
legit.
Stimpy.
Yeah, Rocket Power
I've
was
literally
great.
never heard of any of those except for Ren and Stimpy.
Rocko's Modern Life.
Oh, yeah.
You know the
What?
one.
The Rugrats. Throw the Rugrats in there.
Okay,
Rugrats is
Rugrats.
a
I was going to say, I
classic.
remember them.
We've been watching Rugrats in the morning with Silas.
When? Where? On what?
It's on maybe on Hulu. It was on Hulu.
Yeah, it's on one of those shows.
All right, I'm gonna
It's
tell the
on
kids
something.
we're watching it.
I saw it.
Yeah, we've been watching that. Animaniacs. You ever watch Animaniacs back in the day?
I wasn't a big Animaniacs fan.
It was just we didn't have like cable or anything because we lived out in the middle of nowhere. So whatever channel that the antenna picked up on Saturday mornings, they had Animaniacs. So that was my only choice other than public broadcasting.
I didn't
PBS.
mind it, but
You're watching Arthur.
Arthur. I remember Arthur.
Wow.
Yeah, Arthur was great.
Yeah,
Jake, were your kids into Caillou?
Nope. Never heard of it.
Caillou sucks. That kid's a
Caillou
little
so
shit.
bad.
I don't even know what that is.
Just watch, just like Google Caillou and watch a little bit of it. You'll want to punch that bald-headed kid right in the head.
Did you know that Caillou is just bald, but he's not like a cancer kid? I always thought, now this is, don't judge me for this, okay? I always thought that the
Do you
reason
not know us, we judge for everything.
I thought the reason
you guys just spent 20 minutes judging me on a very heartfelt answer. So
listen, I thought that Caillou, true facts, was like a cancer, like a kid with cancer, and that's why his parents just let him get away with all sorts of bull crap all the time. And then I learned that he just doesn't have hair, and he's actually a really terrible person. And I just don't believe in that.
yeah, he's a terrible kid.
He's terrible.
I'd hate him as my kid. He'd always be in his room.
Never heard of this. What about Dragon Ball Z? Do you guys do Dragon Ball Z?
I like Dragon Ball Z.
I was a Pokemon guy.
I never got into it.
I like Pokemon too.
Never watched any of those.
Big
How about
into
this?
Pokemon.
How about
Speaking of celebrity crushes, Misty, I mean, she's not a bad looking redhead.
She's like 14.
oh god, this
So
is
it's
not
got
good.
Ryan Reynolds,
And
Wait a second. You were
minors.
just talking about when
Betty
you were
White,
younger.
14-year-old
Right.
anime character.
Well,
If it was in this time frame, she'd be like in her
Update,
40s.
She is 10.
Nah, dude, I was watching Kelly Kapowski when she was like a sophomore in high school. I was like
Kelly
7.
Kapowski.
All right.
Yeah,
It would have been her fault.
yeah, exactly. No part of that was your fault.
We were talking about our younger selves. Jeez
No,
Louise.
that was not the
10.
question. I've never watched the most popular show of all time.
Which is
The Office.
No. What's the number one TV show all time?
Friends.
No,
MASH.
no.
MASH.
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld. I've never watched
Oh,
Seinfeld.
I've never watched Seinfeld.
Oh,
Seinfeld's great.
I've
I'm not
seen
against it. It's just one of those things like I just never watched it.
Did you
I've
know
seen clips like the soup Nazi, stuff like that. No
Yeah.
soup for you. But that's
it's
it.
great?
I don't know anything about it.
It's
What about Home Improvement? Did you
Oh,
watch
yeah.
that with Tim Allen when you were younger?
it was okay.
I watched This Old House. Does that count?
Oh, God.
What is that?
Is that with Bob Vila?
I maybe. I'm
We
not
used to
sure
watch
who the
that
guys
every
are on
Sunday
it,
morning.
but they like show you like how to do
yeah, stuff around the house.
stuff around the house. And
And
That's
yet
Bob
you
Vila.
can't even put up your own fence. So good luck with that show.
Yeah.
listen, you got to
you-
learn somehow.
Did that video on TV show you how to change a tire or no?
Tell me about your tire changing experience, Jake, because
changed-
we had a conversation about changing tires, and then you texted me blaming me for
You
your
jinxed
flat
me.
tire.
You jinxed
Yeah.
me.
It was
But
your
you know who
fault.
changed the hell out of that tire? Me.
I was there.
Yeah. Taylor watched. I
Taylor
had
was
to call-
handing him stuff.
I
I
brought
had to
wood.
call Taylor because I happened to get a flat tire on the side of the road that was a muddy ditch. And every time I tried to jack my truck up, it was just burying the jack. So Taylor had to bring me some wood. Taylor brought
Sure
it.
did.
the best wood in
Dude,
all the land.
his wood was just the right size and it was dry.
Mm-hmm.
And it allowed me to jack my truck up just fine. I changed that damn tire.
You know who really brings the wood? Ryan Reynolds. Bet he brings the wood.
Ryan Reynolds is a lover, not a fighter.
You know, had that question been Kyle, who
I
could
don't
you
think we
see-
need to dissect this anymore. I said what
can't
I
let go- I
said.
can't let go of it. Who could be your best friend, your celebrity best friend? Who would you pick if you could pick one person? And then you name Ryan Reynolds, and I'm like, damn, I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
Ryan
great guy.
Reynolds, Chris Pratt, I think it'd be fun to hang out with.
Chris Pratt.
All those kinds. I get all that, but like it was just I can't get past the wording of the question and the answer. I'm still at a loss.
I'm sticking to it.
It's good. I'm proud of you. It's really good. I was going to ask you that question, and then I was going to ask Ethan a different question, and then a different question to Jake.
And then we
But
spent
now-
half an hour on your
I'm
answer.
all messed
so-
up.
I mean,
on
let's
the-
be honest right now. The show's over with, right? There's nothing that we can say or do the rest of this time that's going to top that we just talked about. And you know who provided that? Me. You're welcome.
Yeah. No, thank you for.
People are entertained walking away from this show because of Kyle. Okay.
I just hope that at the time this comes out, that Lamar Jackson hasn't signed a huge contract, because in half our show was meaningless.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Well,
we'll
then
cut out
the
that
most
football
meaningful part will be closer to the beginning.
Our opener will just be.
Will just be Kyle picking Ryan Reynolds.
stuff, which it probably should have been anyway.
Yeah. No. Wow.
I don't know.
You're all welcome. You three for being a part of the conversation, and to everyone out there listening. I've done my job. I've kept you entertained.
Thankful for being here.
If you made it to this point, please put thank you down in the comment section, just if you agree with Kyle.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just
no
comment
comments.
a WTF did I just listen to?
Taylor, can we get a screenshot when you edit this of the
absolutely.
the exact moment?
The exact moment we all realized that crap, Kyle's our friend.
Let's see.
Oh shit.
God.
I need a
Kyle, you have real friends now. You can get rid of your fake friends.
You get rid of your fake friend circle.
Dude, we will be your friends. We will not get in the hot tub with you now because we're a little freaked out by it, but don't judge us for that, okay?
Well, none of us look like Ryan Reynolds, so I think we're safe.
Exactly.
Speak for yourself, okay? I was once told I look like Chris Pratt, and then I found out that same day that Chris Pratt used to be kind of fat. And
yeah, fat Chris Pratt, isn't
You are fat Chris Pratt.
Chris
Pratt.
Wait a second. Is your new nickname Fat Pratt?
Fat Chris Pratt. And the saddest part is like it was a girl telling me, and I was like flattered. I was like, "Oh my God, you think I look like Chris Pratt?" And she's like, "No, not that Chris Pratt, fat Chris Pratt." And I was like, I didn't know there was a fat Chris Pratt.
I don't think he had facial hair though.
That Ryan Reynolds was on Cameo, but I guess he makes too much money for that.
Yeah.
I would like to just say as well, when this does get retweeted by Ryan Reynolds and we get 4 million views on this pod and we're able to monetize the channel right away, you're also welcome. I expect a hefty cut of that. Thank you very much.
I'm already looking at pictures of hefty Fat Pratt over here, trying to see if I see a resemblance or not.
Did you search hefty Pratt?
I put Fat Chris Pratt. And you know what?
He'd have to have gray hair too.
Ethan's hair is better.
No,
his hair is better, and it makes it not look.
He's like Parks and Rec, Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I don't really see the resemblance.
Well, listen, you had to be there, okay?
Maybe if you shaved your beard. Can you shave your beard?
No, I refuse.
Ethan, you have a better chin.
Thank you. Could you keep complimenting me? It's really making my day. Jake already said I had better hair, better chin.
Yeah, a better beard.
Beard's nice.
This picture that I'm looking at, he's clean shaven. So
yeah, that's ridiculous. I would never.
Yeah.
Do you have a pair of really tight American flag swim trunks?
I wish.
That you could wear while being taken out by a wave?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I don't see the main resemblance here.
I'm also glad that I gave you guys a real answer and not fake answers like Ethan does. I got taken down by a 47-foot wave.
What are you talking about?
just grasping at straws at this point.
Yeah. And Kyle's so hard trying to find a way, like, how do I dig out of this one?
I'm not trying to dig out of it. I already said multiple times. I stand by my answer.
But
You're
you
welcome.
probably should dig out of it a
Your
little
lack
bit.
of digging out of it is making it worse.
I don't care. I don't care what anybody thinks.
It shows.
It shows.
Yeah.
I may or may not be in Canva right now doing side-by-side comparisons of Chris Pratt and Ethan.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Well, that's certainly going to
enough.
do it
That's enough
for us tonight. Kyle, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Also, Ethan and Jake, thank you for your support in this difficult time.
Yeah, like we're gonna have a intervention between the three of us here before next week's episode. What question? I need to start screening the questions here, I think.
We're gonna find a cardboard cutout of Ryan Reynolds to put in like the shower in your hotel room or something like that. It's just gonna be in there when you walk in. It's gonna be great.
I'm on it right now.
Thanks for listening, everybody. This has been episode 3 of Discombobulated. We hope that you'll join us again next time. As Jake always says, stay safe, stay healthy.
That's Kyle.
That's me.
No, I was gonna mix them. I'm sorry. As Jake and Kyle always say, stay safe, stay healthy, do your best to make the world a better place. Yeah,
You're pretty close. Yeah, you got it.
That's good. That's good. All right, we'll talk to you later.
There's only cardboard cutouts with his clothes on.